I went to sleep, normal day. Everything was fine. I woke up the next morning with a rifle in my face and people screaming. What does that even mean? And he's like, you don't know what that is? It's like, why would I know what that is?
God.
Yeah.
And he just paused and he looked at me and he's like, oh.
Yeah, you really didn't do it.
And I kept telling the police I didn't do anything. They come to me and they say, you willing to take a polygraph? If you take the polygraph and you pass, you can go home. If you fail, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Say less, let's go. The judge responds and says, use your best judgment. Go based off of what we told you. If the circumstances created an environment where there was a very high likelihood that someone could be hurt or harmed, yes is the answer to your question.
Ladies and gentlemen, holy cow, do we have a great one today. This might be one of the best ones we've ever had. Ken Nixon. Joe, tell the folks out there, why do we have Ken Nixon on this podcast today?
I don't know. He spent 16 years in prison for being wrongfully accused and convicted of murder. So it's tough. But, you know, we briefly met Ken before the show. He's an unbelievable guy you're going to see.
Nicest dude.
Yeah. He looks like shit, but you know what I mean? The guy,
He could really clean himself up a little bit,
guy,
you know?
The guy was a terrible dresser. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where he gets his clothes, but hopefully, you know, we'll find that out. But yeah, no, this guy, he's a great guy. He's got an unbelievable story. I think it kind of reminds, like we were talking before, like Toilet, Jimmy Torville, how, you know, the arc of Toilet, we call it.
Yeah.
And believe me, you know, obviously I feel like overwhelmed with the amount of questions I really want to ask him. So I'm excited about it. Again, we met him before the podcast. Great guy, super chill. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'll say this podcast, I'll leave it with one word: inspirational. It's going to be a good one. We got to cheers to this guy.
Cheers.
Hey, the Ordinary Legends. You ever hear of him?
You ever heard of him? Also, if anybody has a guest that they might think would fit our show, if you made it this far into our episodes, the Ordinary Legends at gmail.com. We'll post. Marky's going to post all this at the bottom of our screen. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Now, I think we're still banned. Actually, no, we're not banned from Facebook. I just got an email saying we're like not banned from Facebook.
I had to talk to Zuckerberg about that.
Zuck?
I put a call on the Zuck. So anyways, we listen, we got a great one today.
Hold on, Danny. Somebody's at your door. Check it out.
All right.
And find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
All the socials.
TikTok, all the socials. Let us know if you want to work for us for free. Let us know about that. If you want to sponsor our show, awesome. We'll take all of your money. We'll do the best we can to promote your product and all that. But yeah, no, Ken Nixon.
Check us out. Here we go.
All right, we're here, Ken. Appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah, Ken, really appreciate it, man. You got such an inspirational story, dude. I think, Joe, we got to start from the stop. Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
we
we obviously gave the intro of why we're having Ken on the show, but you know, Ken Nixon, a Detroit native, right?
Absolutely.
Let's start there. Let's start from the beginning. Where you're from, your childhood growing up. What was it like? So you're from the west side. We talked west side of Detroit.
Yep, west side of Detroit, middle class family.
Siblings?
Yes, got 2 brothers, 1 sister.
Where do you fall in line in that?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, so you were beating them all up.
Yeah, I've been running things for a long time.
Yeah. That's great. So growing up, middle-class family, west side Detroit, at an early age, were you getting into any sports or hobbies at this point or no?
I played basketball growing up.
That's cool.
I was really good at school. School was something that I liked a lot. I was in advanced placement classes pretty much throughout my entire school career up until about the 10th grade.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So school was very easy. Where'd you end up going to high school?
My 9th grade year, I went to communication and media arts.
Okay.
And then I transferred to Redford High School.
Cool. When you were a young kid growing up, west side Detroit, middle class, going into high school, did you have any idea what you wanted to do as you got older at that point, at that age? Or are you just like, I have no clue?
No, it was still too early. I as far back as I can remember, I've had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Were you running with the good crowd or the bad crowd at a young age?
Depends on who you ask. Depends
Yeah.
on who you ask.
Yeah. like
Officially on paper, I was with the good crowd.
Yeah.
My grades reflect the good crowd.
Yeah.
But, after school hours was another story.
Go ahead.
So, okay, all jokes aside, and we're going to lead up to, obviously, the prison side of things, but there was no criminal history, so to speak. It wasn't like you were getting in trouble for little things or anything.
Nah, driver's license, that was one of my biggest issues, like traffic tickets. I was a kid with a lead foot. I had zero regard for traffic obedience whatsoever. So, I got a lot of tickets growing up. My very first time ever having a serious encounter, I was pulled over in a stolen car. I was on probation. In fact, I was speeding. I was on the freeway, speeding through a construction zone back when they were redoing 96.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and I was speeding through a construction zone. And I got pulled over by a state trooper. But
did you know the car was stolen? Yeah. You didn't steal the car.
Did you tell the police officer you were going to Taco Bell and you had you were starting?
Ironically, I was actually on my way to work. My car. So somebody else had the car, and my car at the time, I couldn't get it to start, and I didn't want to be late for work. So I took that car from, a friend of mine and was on my way to work, which is why I was speeding. And I got pulled over by the state trooper. But, I didn't get in, it was serious trouble, but it wasn't like I was going to prison. I ended up on probation under a HIDA program, which would have brought it down to a misdemeanor had I completed the probation. But that was the only ever serious trouble that I had ever been into.
Was your mom and dad in your life growing up?
My mom and my stepfather, yeah.
What were they saying to you when that happened to you?
Oh, I caught hell when I got home. I caught hell.
Took the belt, the old school.
I got it all.
Yeah.
That probation, I had to pay fees. They had to come get me. I had to explain. It was a whole
Joe, imagine
process.
Our kid, like one of ours, like Gina or mine, and that happens. Oh God! I'm not
Hopefully by then there will be self-driving cars anyway.
Yeah, the cars will drive themselves by then. Yeah, they hit the button.
Yeah.
They blame it on Elon Musk.
Yeah, so basically some petty shit you went through. I mean, nothing serious. It wasn't like you were habitual criminal. You were hanging out with gangbangers and something. It was just you were normal. Now, I'm assuming you're probably 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, somewhere in between there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fairness, I've worked since I was 14 years old. So, it wasn't like I was just out in the street, staying out all night. That wasn't me at all.
What was your first job?
I used to work at a hotel in the restaurant.
Okay.
Embassy Suites out in Livonia, actually.
Yeah.
That was my first job. I was cleaning tables on the weekends, literally on the weekends. That was what I did. I would go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and clean tables for the restaurant area.
What high school did you go
to? Redford was the last high school that I went to.
Yeah.
All right, so you have pretty much fairly normal childhood, I would assume. Nothing too crazy. And then all of a sudden, I guess we can get up to the point where, you somehow find yourself in one of the most crazy situations I've ever heard, and one of the most disappointing, and just like all the emotions that go through just hearing your story. You know what I mean? So I guess take us up leading into the day where, now, I mean, just to get specific, you were convicted in 2005 at the age of 19 of 2 counts of murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, and arson related to a 2004 house bombing in Detroit that killed a 10-year-old boy and an infant. You received 2 life sentences without parole. Okay, so we can stop there.
Yeah. So everyone take a drink now.
We just went from you being a normal high school kid getting into basically little to no trouble to finding yourself not only accused but convicted of all these crimes. So I guess if you could, in maybe your view, how did you find yourself in that situation?
I think it was
from the beginning. Yeah. How did that day?
I know that's a packed question, but just
so packed.
How do you go from there to, all of a sudden, boom, here we are?
Definitely a compound question.
Yeah.
But I also think it's a combination of factors that played a role in leading up to that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the backstory was that the year prior, I found out that my son's mom was having an affair with a very close friend of mine. I had known her since we were in elementary school. I had known him since I was preteen. He was older than me. He ran with a bunch of my older cousins, so he was around the family a lot. When I found out about it, obviously emotions ran high. We were doing aggressive things towards each other. We were both young, just some property damage, a lot of aggressive threatening towards each other.
About how old at this point? How old are you at now?
18.
18, yep.
Yeah, it's 18. He was in his 20s at the time. My son that I had with her was newborn. In my head, that was my family, right? That was my family, my girl, my kid. So it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
We had, like I said, we had some property damage. We had some very threatening language. We talked crazy to each other. Nobody was ever actually hurt, right? Nobody was harmed in any kind of way. It was just, guys, kid stuff.
Yeah.
What I would consider, at 39, kid stuff.
Yeah.
We were stupid, arguing back and forth, yelling at each other, screaming at each other every chance we got. But at some point we came to a conclusion that we just needed to stay away from each other, right? It was in everybody's best interest that we needed to stay away from each other. Just keep it clean, stay away. About a month after that conversation, someone set his house on fire. When his house caught on fire, my name immediately came up in the conversation. I can only assume what the line of questioning was. I would assume that the question would become like, who was anybody beefing with, or was there any trouble? And because this had been ongoing back and forth between he and I, my name immediately comes up. This is where you start to mix in a few other elements that were beyond our control. At that particular time, the city of Detroit was basically the black eye of the country for closure rates on homicide cases and crime, period. Right? We had an extremely high crime rate. The police department was under a lot of pressure from not only our local administration, but the federal government as well to close cases. They weren't solving very many cases. They were also under investigation from the feds for their tactics on how, they were investigating, I guess you can say. And long story short, this became a very high-profile case. It's not very often that 2 children perish in a house fire, and
How old were the
because
kids
of
that perished?
10.
10 and 1,
Oh, God.
because it was children involved, the profile of the case skyrocketed immediately. So, I mean, just, in all fairness, the pressure to solve a case
you're
that
18 years
that,
old. You're a kid
as a kid.
thrown into this tornado of shit.
Yeah. And I didn't fully understand,
No.
what was going on. Like,
Oh my God.
I mean, we're taught to believe that the police get it right.
Yeah.
That's what society tells you. The
Yeah.
police get it right.
Yeah.
So, I was home. I was at home when it happened, had no idea that the crime had taken place, had no idea that any of this had transpired. I went to sleep, normal day. Everything was fine. I woke up the next morning with a rifle in my face and people screaming. Hands down, one of the most traumatizing experiences that I've ever had to deal with. That night, my son was asleep on my chest. And that first officer through the door, like vivid memory. Very first thing he says is baby, baby, baby. And then he swings the door open and steps to the side. A female officer steps in and she, with her left arm, like pushed him off of me. And with her right arm, pulled me down to the floor from the bed and handed me off to another officer. They drugged me into the living room of the house where there was, a lot more open space. And that's where I was arrested for.
That's how you're waking up in the morning.
That's how I woke up the next morning.
Holy shit.
How long from the time the actual firebombing took place to the time where that happened, where they came into your house?
Hours.
So it was like
It
it
happened-
happened and they just asked somebody and boom. there
So
you go.
based on the paperwork, we now know that the call came in just before midnight. I was officially arrested at 5 a.m.
Wow. Are you living with your mom and your stepdad? And do you have your siblings in this house too?
No, so it was me, my son, my son's mom, Her cousin and his girlfriend were upstairs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, okay. There's a lot of yelling. There's guns in your face. Your 1-year-old baby's there. What happens next? They take you into the station?
So they cuffed me. They had me sit there for a really long time. And it was freezing. Like, I remember it was freezing that morning. And one of the most heart-wrenching moments of my life, like, I can just remember my son screaming.
Oh, God.
Like, that gut-wrenching wailing, like, he's just screaming and screaming and screaming. And they cuffed me. They sit me on the porch. And I just sat there for a really long time as they did whatever they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was eventually transported to a precinct, and then I was eventually transported downtown to homicide, where I later found out what happened and why I was being arrested.
Oh my God. So you didn't find out till then?
Yeah, I had no idea.
You had no idea what's going on.
I had no idea what I was being arrested for. It's crazy because I remember, like, they didn't even know me. They didn't even know who they were looking for. Like, they were asking people in the house, like, what's his name? What's his name?
Yeah.
You know, I'm from Detroit. Like, you don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So they're yelling, they're screaming at me, like, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And I'm just sitting there like, you're going to have to do your job today, buddy. So, you know,
Well, they say that's smart to not say anything. At least a lawyer will tell you, no matter what happens, do not say a word, even if you're innocent, guilty, whatever the case may be. Just
I mean, I had no idea why they were there, so there was nothing that I could give them anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
I get
what
it.
the
Like,
arrest.
you didn't do it, and you're sitting there like, what is happening? And then
I'm
you
just
didn't
trying
even
to picture,
he didn't even know the murder had
got your-
happened.
No,
Probably.
I had no idea
Yeah.
that this had happened just several hours before.
Oh my God.
I had no idea.
So you finally get in the precinct and they finally lay it on you and they're like, listen, here's what happened. What then?
I thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely thought I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
I was
Yeah,
at
you
my
can't be
house
serious.
last night at this time. Like, yeah.
Like, several people know where I was. Like, that's why it didn't register to me, because in my head, I'm like, I'm good. Like, we had multiple people that can verify where I was at the time that this was happening. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But then it was the other confusing part to me was they said fire. Like, in my head, I'm like, fire?
Right.
The fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I'm from Detroit. Like, we shoot people. We stab people. Like, I'd run you over with a car before I set your house on fire. Like, what the fuck?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me was so baffling. Like, fire.
That's true.
Like, it completely confused me. And then they were saying, they were using terms that I'd never heard before. Right? I had no idea what the fuck a Molotov cocktail was.
Right.
I had no idea. I'm a fucking kid. Like, why would I know that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And then to think, like, I remember my lawyer spent close to an hour trying to explain to me what a Molotov cocktail was.
Like, watch Bronx Tale. You know, like, like what? Yeah. How do you explain that to an 18-year-old kid?
I guess it's an alcoholic bottle that
Yeah.
you
I
light it
remember,
on
like-
fire to blow stuff up.
Yeah.
But I
100%.
remember, like, so I didn't have all the details when I was arrested. So when he came to see me, he's reading the paperwork, and he's like, excuse me, the house was set on fire with the Molotov cocktail. And I remember stopping him, like, okay, what's that?
Yeah.
And he, like, literally, I remember.
Is this
clearly,
your lawyer or
my lawyer?
Okay.
This is my lawyer, and I remember clearly, like, staring at him, like,
Yeah. What is that?
I need you to explain that. Like, what does that even mean? And he's like, you don't know what that is? It's like, why would I know what that is?
God. You were
Yeah.
caught
And he
in the
just
worst.
paused and he looked at me and he's like, oh.
Yeah, you really didn't do it. That was probably a light bulb.
That was at the
where he's
moment
like,
where he's
oh,
like, all right, this kid's innocent.
this guy doesn't even know what a Molotov cocktail is.
I had no idea. But I mean, like, now, again, knowing what I know at 39, thinking back to 19, like, who the fuck takes that much time to commit a crime?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, the thought process that has to go into just putting your weapon together.
Yeah.
Like, that's complete opposite of everything I've been taught. Like, you get in and get out. Like, who the fuck is you got to find a bottle. You got to figure out how to get this shit in here.
Yeah.
You got to figure
Get
out
in.
like how to set it. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of prep, a lot of work, a lot of thinking. That's
I'm a
lot.
kid. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to get in and get out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Like, that is not the weapon of choice.
Yeah.
Did you have a court-appointed lawyer, or did your family hire one?
I did. I had a court-appointed lawyer. At that particular time, it wasn't a question of whether or not we could afford the lawyer. It was more so I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah, it's all happening so fast and like.
Plus, he's like, this is bullshit. I was home at,
And I mean, let's face it, like
this.
I didn't
lawyers
think it
are
was necessary.
expensive as shit too. So
Oh, yeah.
like, I mean, like, I don't know, you're 19 years old. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't have been able to afford a lawyer, you know, at that moment in time, you know, for sure.
We could. That's the thing. Like, we could have afforded an attorney. Like, it wasn't a question of money. It was to me, it was like logic.
Yeah.
Like, we're taught that the court system is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, we're taught that prosecutors are the checks and balance for the police. The judge is the checks and balance for the prosecutor, right? The jury is the checks and balance for the judge. That's what we're taught to believe.
Yes.
Like, all of these are fail-safes to ensure that one layer doesn't fall too far. The reality is, like, all this shit works together.
They're all connected.
They're all connected.
All connected, yeah.
The statistics, 80% of judges are former prosecutors. That's a statistic. That's a fact.
Yeah.
80% of judges are former prosecutors.
And
I
like
did
you
not
said,
know
with the
that.
pressures that they're facing because Detroit wasn't solving murders at that time.
Well, yeah,
so,
like that.
you know,
Now
it's a
that you
perfect
paint the
storm of shit.
the
Yeah.
picture of that and what's going on, you add 2 kids into the mix.
Yeah. And you
Now
think
it's
about
a big
like
deal.
you think about for example, I'm one of the few cases that I know of where the deputy chief of police, the deputy mayor, and the chief of police are all on the crime scene.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure.
I don't know of any other case where that level of administration is on a crime scene at midnight.
Yeah.
2 kids dead.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mom,
But
yeah.
like when you flip that around, right? Think about the pressure that the investigating officers were under to solve that case in a timely fashion because those bigwigs were on the scene that night.
So,
How do you explain that? Like, how do you answer for that? If you can't solve this case in a timely fashion,
Yeah.
like, how do you explain that?
yeah.
You
know
suck
what
at your
I'm saying?
job if you're in front of your boss. Like, the pressure was on.
Yeah. So the pressure's on. What happened after that? So now you're in this prison waiting to what?
Go to
court?
trial.
Go to trial, right?
So I'm in jail.
And you're still in your mind, you're like, logic. This ain't me. I'm
Yeah,
good.
well, yeah,
I'm straight.
you're, and I'm sure the whole time, and correct
Right?
me if I'm wrong, you're like, well, I didn't do it. I'm going to get out of this. And like you said, you thought everything was going to work out. And so I got, not to cut
No,
you
go
off,
ahead.
Danny,
Yeah, yeah.
but like, so like he said, you're in this prison cell. How long until, say, now you got to go to trial, right? Obviously, I mean,
yeah, you in there long or is it pretty quick?
So it was almost 6 months.
What?
Yeah.
It was almost 6
I mean,
months.
you know
So I
how
was
it works.
arrested
You don't
in-
get a court date for a murder trial like the next
shit.
day.
I was
And you-
arrested in May.
Yeah.
We didn't go to trial until September. I didn't go to actual prison until October.
So those 6 months, they're just building the case against you. That's the whole thing. And in your mind, you're probably like, what are they building? I was at home. Like, what are they doing? Right?
Yeah. Like, I was so confused. I was confused about why it was taking so long to figure it out. I was confused about, like, what the issue was. And there's not a lot of communication when it comes to the system, right? Everybody knows the system moves slow. So, again, I'm trying to process more than anything. Like, how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
Why am I sitting here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, my mind is running 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Anger, frustration, pissed,
Absolutely.
everything, you know.
Yeah. Like, you start to go through all those emotions because you're like, this is bullshit. And why is it taking so long for them to figure it out?
Yeah.
You know? Like, that part is traumatic.
To say the least.
It's traumatic as hell to sit there. You're going to sleep every night like, all right, tomorrow might be the day I go home.
In those 6 months in that cell, are you with someone at this point or no? Do you have like a
Yeah, how does that work? Like,
What do you mean?
like a cell buddy? I don't know. Like,
Cellmate.
are you like
Oh,
by
no, no.
yourself?
Other
Like, what
people?
is
Is
it
it
like
like
at this
solitary
point in this 6
confinement?
months?
In the county jail, so I think there were 13 people on the floor with me. Like, all
Okay.
of us had our own individual
Yeah.
cells. They would,
All
like, it was a
waiting for trial?
small, yeah. Excuse me. So there was like a small hallway, and then the cells were connected to the hallway. So at a certain time at night, we'd all have to go into the cells. They lock us all in. Certain time in the morning, all the doors will open up, and like you can walk out into the hallway. There's one TV down on the end of the hallway. There's one phone on the other end of the hallway. There's a shower down there.
God.
But yeah.
How long from, I'm sure you like the roller coaster of emotions. So at some point, like you said, you're traumatized, you're shocked. Within that 6 month period, how long did it take you to turn to go, okay, now I've actually got to fight this? Like, focus
Yeah,
more
that's a
on
good
like
question.
you're almost like not used to it by now, but like you've kind of got, was it like a couple weeks where you never used to it? Like, I mean, was it
Did you ever
just,
think like, shit, I might be fucked here? Like, did you like in those 6 months?
That's a good question. Yeah.
thank you.
So after the first few days, I started to question like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Right? Week go past, 2 weeks go past, a month goes past, and now, I'm starting to get frustrated. My emotions are high. None of this shit's making sense. My lawyer's communicating, but he's not communicating in a way that my 19-year-old mind could process it.
Yeah.
The legal community, like, that's just jargon. Don't nobody understand it but them. If you don't work in the legal community, you have no idea what the fuck they're talking about half the time.
It's like Chinese. You're like, wait, what?
He's speaking in
I
a
get
different language.
Yeah.
So, and again, like, yeah, I went to good schools, but at the same time, like, I don't understand any of this shit.
Yeah.
And, he's coming to see me, but he also doesn't have the time to sit there and explain to me in detail the way that I can comprehend it. So I'm getting frustrated that I don't understand what's happening. The moment I knew I was going to prison before we ever went to trial.
Really?
About 3 weeks before trial started, my lawyer came to see me and he told me that the prosecutor had a jailhouse informant and that this person was telling them that I had confessed to him and that person was going to testify at my trial.
One of those 13 people that you were with in that?
No. This was somebody else.
Somebody else?
That a jailhouse informant
Had said he wrote a letter. At least this is what was
How do
said
you
at the time.
sleep at night?
Listen,
Fuck.
my understanding at that particular time was that this person was going to say that I confessed to him, which I knew to be absolutely a lie.
Yeah.
But that was the moment I knew I was going to prison, because at that point I knew they were willing to do anything necessary to get a conviction. Even if that meant manufacturing a lie, they were willing to do whatever was necessary to get me. And knowing that I had never said this to anybody really fucked with me.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God.
doom. Like, all my emotions ran through the floor, because at that point, like, I'm processing my fucking life is over.
Yeah.
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 You're facing life in prison. You're not just facing years. You're facing the rest of till you die.
The difficulty in this entire situation is, like, we're not talking about a gun case. We're not talking about drugs. We're not talking about somebody got beat up. We're not talking about something that has an outdate attached to it. We're talking about fucking murder. Like, there's only one way this ends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't.
I had
This
a question
isn't like
in
you
mind,
can
but
get
now
away.
I'm just rattled by it, like the feeling. I'm like sweating.
Like I'm like visualizing
I'm
myself in
uncomfortable
your
just thinking-
shoes.
yeah, I know.
And just having my stomach feels like it's just dropping.
Oh, I know what my question was. So this informant, did you know this person at all?
No.
Okay, so how could you even make up the story if you've never had communication? It'd be like, oh, I knew this guy from the street, or I went to high school with this guy, and now he's in prison. It was just some rando that they were like, yeah, how would you have been able to convince? Did you go visit him in prison? Did you communicate with him by letter?
Yeah, what was their story?
What was their story on
Yeah.
how you communicated that you killed 2 kids in a Molotov cocktail firebomb?
Yeah.
So that's a kind of a tricky question. I can't get into too much detail. However, I will say this. It was all a lie.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly.
Not only was it all a lie, they were willing to do anything to get a conviction.
They were Let's go to the day of.
Trial?
Yeah, I want to hear the day of the trial. So you're 19 now,
Yep.
and in your mind you're like, I'm
You're
fucked.
done.
Because like you already know this guy's, got this bullshit thing against you. Your lawyer who's talking in Chinese is telling you shit, you don't know what's going on. It's the day of trial. Take me through that day and when they told you, hey, this is what's happening.
The morning, so we were in trial for 7 days. We picked a jury for 2 days. We had 5 days of testimony. So it was 7 days. The morning that we began the process was unique. And it was unique because when I was first arrested, and I kept telling the police I didn't do anything, they come to me and they say, you willing to take a polygraph? If you take the polygraph and you pass, you can go home. If you fail, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Say less. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I go, I take it. The officers tell me I failed. The polygrapher herself tells me I passed. When I tell my lawyer what happened, the prosecutor tells him they have no record of me taking a polygraph test.
What? Dude.
So the morning of trial, now mind you, in that time, from the time that I was arrested to the time that we started trial, my lawyer, to his credit, asked repeatedly, we're missing some records. Where are the records from the polygraph? We're missing some information. Judge is ordering it over and over and over again. Give them everything you got. Give them everything you got. What's taking y'all so long? Give them everything you got. They repeatedly told us they didn't have any record of this happening. They repeatedly told us that. They repeatedly said, I didn't take one. They had no proof of me taking one. The morning of trial, my lawyer walks in and he looks me in the face and he says, I'm starting to believe you. What are you talking about?
Starting to believe you.
I said, what are you talking about? And he holds up this piece of paper and it was the polygraph results.
Oh my God.
And he says, they gave me your polygraph results, but they say you failed. And I'm like, what? And he goes, but if you really failed, then why didn't they give it to me 6 months ago when I asked you for it?
Right.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him and was like, fuck.
I mean, that right then and there.
Yeah. While we're on the trial part of it, and we still got more to go to, at any point did you let, I mean, now you're, forgive my language, but you're balls deep in it. So like, did you ever think about getting another lawyer? Was it possible at that point? Or were you too late because he was already, was it too just overwhelming? Like, not that he wasn't good and maybe you felt comfortable with him. I mean, I don't know.
I think we were all overwhelmed at that point.
Yeah.
And for clarity, nobody in my family had ever been in any serious trouble.
Yeah.
So we had no idea how to navigate the legal system, right?
For
Nobody's
sure.
walking around with fucking murder lawyers on retainer. Like, I don't know anybody that does that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not just dropping a bag for a lawyer, like, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case we need this. Like, nah, that's not how that happens.
All jokes aside, there was a point in time where you thought you knew you were done, even though you obviously did not do this, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, just, you know, I would hire Johnny Cochran, Jeffrey Feiger, get anybody. I would throw my entire life savings into this. Be like, I cannot spend another day.
Well, the other problem too was that as time progresses, emotions get higher and higher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, people are taught to believe the system works. So now people are questioning whether or not you're telling the fucking truth. There's no way this is going to trial if you're lying. There's no way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're being honest about what you were doing, there's no way. They're going to figure it out before you get to trial.
Yeah.
Then trial comes and everybody's looking at you like, well, what the fuck is really going on?
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to question me at this point. And again, their emotions are high. My emotions are high because I still don't fucking understand anything. So what normally would be a conversation like this is me yelling at people because I don't understand what's going on, and I'm screaming about why the fuck are y'all taking so long? Did you go talk to this lawyer? What's going on? Why is nobody not saying anything?
Yeah.
My emotional intelligence was lacking in those moments, so I couldn't explain what I needed. I couldn't explain to them like, yo, now is not the time for this. Like, I need you to do that. I couldn't explain that. Like, how do you tell that? To, I'm still a kid yelling at the adults. Like, yo, I need you to go do this.
It's easy
like,
to look back on it now from my bird's eye view. But
That polygraph thing is nuts, though.
that's the truth.
That is crazy.
Were you pissed at your lawyer when he's like, I'm starting to believe you? Or were you like, why didn't you believe me the entire time? You know, that kind of thing, if your emotions are running high.
I think there was flashes where he didn't have a choice but to believe me. But I think that was the moment where it all made sense to him. Like, I mean, we're all adults. You know how shit doesn't make sense at one point. But, you know, in 2025, it might not make sense. But something happens in 2026, you're like, fuck, that really did make sense.
Yeah.
I think that was the moment for him.
That's
when
a good
it was
analogy.
like, you know, it might not have made sense in the beginning. But, you know, also being around people in the legal community, the expectation is that not everybody's going to be honest, right? But with me, everything that I said checked out.
Yeah.
Not one thing that I had told him didn't check out. So, but I think why the light bulb came on in that situation was because these were his peers. These were people that he worked with on a regular basis. These were people that he'd seen in other court cases and worked with in other court cases. So for him, he wasn't questioning whether or not it was my honesty was valid or not. I think he was questioning the whole circumstance. Right? That was a real question that he asked me. If they didn't have this, then why didn't they? If they had this, why didn't they give it to me when I first asked?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, that's logic. That doesn't take a law degree to figure out, right? You ask for somebody for something and they tell you they don't have it, and then all of a sudden it conveniently appears.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, the day, like 7 days before, or whatever it is.
Like, you don't. It doesn't take a college degree to figure that one out. I think that was the moment where it was like, shit, this kid really might be.
This kid, yeah,
innocent.
and you're a kid, you know.
Yeah.
So you said trial was 7 days, roughly 7 days. So day number 7, you're there, and I feel like in your head at this point, you're like, I'm fucked, I'm done, just because of everything's going against you, right? Do I have that right? In mentally, you're like, I'm in trouble
for the rest of my life. Yeah.
So day 7 comes, and the judge lays down the hammer. What's going on in your head? What the
Take
fuck?
us through that moment.
Yeah, I mean,
So after day 7, the jury deliberated for 2 days. And they sent out a note. They sent out a note, and I remember the question. Excuse me. I remember the question was, could they find me guilty of attempted murder for people that hadn't been harmed? So the way the law is written, so that obviously the 2 murder cases were for the 2 people that perished, and then there were 4 other people in the house when the crime happened. So I was charged with a single count of attempted murder for each other person, right? So the question was, could they find me guilty of attempted murder for somebody that needed no medical attention? They weren't harmed in any kind of way. They didn't need any sort of medical attention. And 2 things went through my head at that particular moment. They were already past the murder charges. Oh. I remember thinking that because the charges were set just like we just spelled them out just now. Yep. Murder, attempted murder, attempted murder, attempted murder, attempted murder, arson, right? So my head immediately goes to, fuck, they're already past the murder charges. Wow. So then the judge responds and says, use your best judgment. Go based off of what we told you. If the circumstances created an environment where there was a very high likelihood that someone could be hurt or harmed, yes is the answer to your question, right? And I remember they sent them back to deliberate again. And the way the process works is once they're deliberating, they move me back to the holding cell to wait for them to do whatever they're going to do. And I remember we didn't even make it back to the cell. I remember the bailiff. I stepped in, and then someone yelled something, and then he's like, come back out. And we go back out. We go back to the courtroom. The jury files back in. Guilty on all charges.
Oh, my God.
I was fucking numb. I was numb. Because I was already still processing. They had moved past the murder charges. The attempted murders didn't even fucking bother me.
Yeah.
That didn't even mean anything because, like, you can't give me, I can't die but once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So whatever the fuck these attempts bring don't even matter. And I remember right after that first guilty verdict, I just like,
yeah. And you have 2 kids now, 2 little ones at this point?
yes.
Oh, my God.
I just remember like everything starts spinning. Like that shit's a blur after that first guilty verdict. And I just sank. And I remember going back into the cell. And I remember my lawyer saying something to me. I have no idea what the fuck he said to this day. Like none of that shit made sense. And they took me back to the room, and I remember I just like fell on my bed crying. And mind you, like, this isn't even sentencing. This is just a guilty verdict. Sentencing is a whole nother day. This is a whole nother day that still got to come so they can tell me how much time I'm going to fucking serve, right?
Yeah.
But none of that shit matters because I know what comes with the murder.
Yeah.
Man, that is so disappointing.
Yeah.
This is a horrible story. I mean,
It gets better
I
though,
know
folks.
it
It
does.
will get better. There's an arc to the story, ladies and
That
gentlemen.
is-
Trust
I'm
us.
sitting here just like, I mean, I'm feeling your pain. I mean, I can't imagine what you were going through the whole time from minute 1 to 6
And your
months later.
family too. Like, you said you have 2 siblings and
Yeah.
like,
You don't even think about that part until you
just
bring it up.
everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's just not you. It's your whole community around you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It gets worse. So
Oh, great.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
it
Let's
gets,
go.
It gets worse. Like I'll top it off with this one, and then we can go on to the next part of this. But sentencing comes a month later, about 6 weeks later. And again, at this point, like I'm still trying to grapple with life sentence, like, and I'm still like trying to process. There's 2 of these fuckers coming.
Ain't one. We got 2.
There's 2 of them.
And you're still in
Yeah.
that same prison that we talked about earlier. That
The jail. Yep,
Okay,
the
yeah,
jail. So yeah, so I go to sentencing, and and again, I know these 2 life sentences are coming, and I remember the prosecutor. He goes, for the 4 attempt murders, instead of giving him a number of years, can we just give him a 3rd life sentence?
What?
When I tell you, like,
And this
I was dumbstruck.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, again, I'm still trying to process the first 2.
Yeah.
And
God.
I that moment seems so clear even today, because in my head I'm like, motherfucker, I can't die but once.
Yeah.
Like, how much of this shit are you? And
And knowing what we know now, like the prosecutor had to have known you were like with all what with the details that came out. That's an evil person, in my opinion. I mean, you know what I mean? Like to be able to do that to somebody, because
how you sleep at
as
night.
time goes on, and we're gonna get into this. Like when I was reading up on you, you later find out like the inner workings of how we got to that point where they put him in jail. And to think that somebody could just ask for that. And so I thought you were going to tell me the other way, where they're like, oh yeah, can we just back off a little bit on this? Or no.
Nope.
No, they just go harder.
yeah.
They just
Yeah,
go
they went harder.
But what I now know, what I didn't know at that particular time, was legal theater is a fucking real thing.
That's a real deal.
Like, that was all theater. That was all for shits and giggles and sparks. Like, that was one of those moments that you play on the news cycle, saying that they asked for a 3rd life sentence. But the reality is, like, what is this for?
Yeah.
What purpose does this serve besides to inflate your ego?
Yeah.
To gloat and say that you did this? Like, there's no genuine, legitimate reason for that type of ask, right? But the flip side of that also, too, is like, to his credit, the judge is like, I'm not doing that. But even though he didn't give me a life sentence, like, bro, do you know how long it took me to figure out how much 380 months to 460 months was?
Yeah.
Like, I went to great fucking schools. It took me years to
you
figure
got
that
all
math
A's
out.
Too.
Oh my
You're
God.
still, yeah.
Like, it took me years to figure that out. Like, I remember him saying 380 months, and I'm sitting there at the table, like, I'm elbowing my lawyer, like, the fuck does that even mean?
yeah.
What is that, like 50 years or
40 to
years?
60.
40? Oh my God.
40 to 60. I was in my 20s when I figured that shit out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, because in my mind, I'm thinking about double-digit years. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did we get to triple digits?
Yeah,
like,
what-
hundreds of triple digits.
Yeah.
Like, what does this even mean? Like, and seriously, like, no, it took me years to figure that out, because it's like, how many times does this go into this in order for this to make that? And
Yeah.
like, how do we get to
Fucking doing
this?
the Pythagorean theorem and shit just to
Right.
figure it out.
But then at the same time, like, it's crazy, because the way that the Department of Corrections calculates your time, you do the smallest number first, which sounds insane, because The arson case is 10 years, right?
Yeah.
The attempted murder is 40. So on my paperwork, the numbers look wild.
Yeah. So you do 10 first, then 40?
Yes. Exactly. So you do 10 first, then you do the 40, then you do the life sentence, then you do the second life sentence.
Yeah. And almost a third.
Listen, I'm not exaggerating when I say it took me until my 20s to figure this shit out.
So
Like, my brain could not wrap my head around what any of this meant. All I knew was that the only part that ever made sense to me was the life sentence.
Dude,
I know. Do you mind if we get into like the inner workings of what we found out, what you found out after, with the cops and the dirty work that they were trying to pull on you, and you know that.
Let's go.
Okay, so there was 2 officers that I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, cut me off, and you can continue with your story. That were instrumental in putting you in jail. Am I correct by saying that?
Yeah.
Both for reasons, you know, we don't necessarily know, but they were promoted, you know, those kind of things like later on. So, you know, it makes you think, you know, that's probably why they wanted to do it, just close out a case. They didn't care. And then from also what I read was that there was a statement where they clearly said, one of the officers said the I don't know what it was called, the informant was clearly coached, or was it a child or something like
The
that?
child,
yeah,
yeah.
Maybe if you could
13-year-old
get into
child.
that and what you found out, and maybe when you found it out. I don't know if it was 20 or 10 years later, right away, or if you knew it all along, or who found it out, and that kind of thing.
So, I mean, I obviously knew that there was lies being told
Yeah.
long before, you know, it surfaced. Throughout my appellate investigation while I was incarcerated, one of the documents that was uncovered was, for years we'd had the document that you're referring to where it says that the young man was being coached. Well, we had the redacted version. That line was blacked out on every single copy that we had, right? And so we never actually saw what that said until years later. And
How many years?
it took me 10 years to get my homicide file.
Of course.
And it wasn't us that got it. It was actually some journalism students from Medill Justice Project in Illinois. I had been on a waiting list for that. They had an Innocence Project arm of their university, program at their university. And I had been on a waiting list for 6 years. And pure happenstance, God took over. I got a application in the mail one day with a letter that said for me to fill out the application. And I wasn't sure if they actually wanted me to fill it out, or was this a clerical error from some new student that, you know, just didn't know what they were doing. So I asked a family member to call the university and ask if they really wanted me to fill it out, or was this just a clerical error? The person that answered the phone actually went and found my original application.
Wow.
So the message back to me was, don't fill it out. It was just a clerical error. Well, that person actually read my application, got interested in it, took it to the professors, and my case became the class assignment for the next semester. I was assigned 6 journalism students, 2 professors, and a reporter from Illinois. They requested every single piece of paper that they could associated with my case. They talked to literally any and everybody that would talk to them, jurors, the informant, the lawyers. They talked to everybody that would talk to them. They drove to Michigan twice. They met with me on one of those trips. During the process of their document discovery, I guess you can call it, obtaining of the documents, they got the clean version, the unredacted version of that document that you're referring to. And that was the first time anybody had ever saw what wasn't blacked out.
And can you clarify exactly what was said in that? Meaning, like, the officer said to the other officer? Or was that how it worked?
So what that document was written hours after I was arrested, literally hours. And at that particular point, the child witness had spoken to several different officers, and that document. So that memo is the homicide detective that was assigned to the case red flagging his supervisor, and that line that you're referring to literally says, "It's obvious our star witness is being coached by family members."
Wow.
Yeah.
He literally wrote that into his
my
memo.
God.
No big deal.
And he was
No big
notifying his supervisor that basically their witness was unreliable. That's why it was redacted. But what we know now, in hindsight, that child witness wrote 3 different statements to 3 different officers. And if you line them up right next to each other, his story grows more and more in line with what they needed him to say.
Wow.
By the time he made it to the 3rd officer, they had a story.
Yeah.
By the time he made it to court, that story was so tight
Money.
that
Yeah.
they had the conviction.
That's crazy.
But
What's
in
even
between that-
crazier is that college, a university picked you up like that. Like it was like the hand of God telling you, listen, coming into your life.
Yeah.
So what I want to get to is you get convicted of like 18 life sentences, jokingly, but you know what I'm saying. You know, like hey, you're in there for like 21 lives.
Yeah.
And you go to what, a federal prison? State prison.
Can we take a break?
What?
Is that cool? We take a few minute break
Yeah,
before
you wanna take a break?
into it. I just need to take a
Oh,
little.
all right. So refresh
You
my
better not
memory
go
where we're
cry.
at.
What's that?
You better not go
No,
cry.
I'm good on that. I just I need a break from this, man. It's hot here.
I'll take another beer.
I'm
You
gonna
better
go
not start crying.
I want to get in. All right, we're back.
We're back. We were just talking how terribly dressed you were.
Dude, I had to set my game up, Ken. Look at this.
I know. What the hell?
Come on, Joey.
God, you're so lucky. So Ken shows up at the bar before when we're doing our little pre-meeting. Shows up in this beautiful 3-piece suit. I'm looking like I just came from work. Danny's like, "Oh, I got a suit jacket in my car." I'm like, "Great, look like good in this one."
Got to class it up. So, all right. So, Ken, what I was getting back to is,
well, prison, right?
yeah, what I want to go to is, you're convicted, and you said you're going to state prison.
Yes.
What the fuck is state prison like? Like what? Like, take me through like what a day is like in state prison.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Because every day is a little bit different.
Every
Shit's
day.
going down.
Put it like this.
Can I rewind you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're convicted. You go. We just left off where you go through all the emotions of like
Yep.
you're numb. You're probably numb for God knows how long. I mean, how long till you actually? I can imagine your mental state was just absolutely out of whack. How long till you just
They probably
came to
send
grips
you
with
quick, right?
reality? Like how?
That shit took. Bro, I don't even know how to answer that question because
Ever?
I don't think you ever really.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever really fully adapt.
Do they send your ass to state prison like immediately?
Yeah. So
Like
I was
as soon as you're
sentenced.
convicted,
I was sentenced on October 12th, 2005. October 14th, 2005, I was sent to prison.
wow.
So less than 2 days later, I was sent off to prison. The way it's set up is I spent, I think 90 days, if I'm not mistaken, it's 90 days in Jackson prison, which is quarantine, which is where like the intake process begins, where they figure out, medical needs, if you need any sorts of medication.
You said 90
Which-
days?
Yeah.
Or 60?
90.
90?
I'm
So
I'm
3
pretty
months.
sure it was, I'm pretty sure it was about 90 days, but quarantine is considered level 5. So you're on 23-hour lockdown all day long. You are in your room. There's people screaming all day
Oh,
long.
there's a bunch of people in there.
Oh yeah. Like,
Is it like the bunk beds? Is that like the shit you see on
no.
TV?
So in quarantine, you're all by yourself.
Okay.
You're all in rooms by yourself with the bars, but it's because it's open setting, there's bars, you can hear everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can hear people yelling all night long. The lights never go out.
They don't.
No. So it's security. They have to be able to see you. They have to be able to make sure you're breathing, so the lights never go off.
I always just remember Shawshank when they turn the lights off. Yeah, that's what I'm. The fuck I know.
Put it this way: prison is exactly what you think it is. Like everything you've seen on TV, everything your mind can imagine. Or I saw more violence, more blood, more mental health problems in prison.
What happens after 90 days? Then what happens after that?
I was transferred to Saginaw Correctional Facility.
Okay.
I was moved to a level 4. So when I went into the system, you had to do 3 years. If you had more than 7 years, you had to do 3 years in level 4, which is higher restriction. The restricted movement, like I could only get out of my room for a certain amount of hours a day. That was the first time that I was locked in a room with somebody. And the thing about level 4 is the doors are controlled by remote. The officers down at the desk can open and close the doors. What, in hindsight, looking back at it, bro, when that door closes, it's just you and him in that room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Who was the guy? Who was your roommate or bunkmate or whatever the fuck?
Fuck, I don't remember. That shit was so long ago. Like the very first time,
I'd
like
be
I
so
don't.
scared.
Absolutely. I mean,
And you're 20 years old.
yeah. So the thing about prison is like you don't get to pick who you go in the room with. You don't have any say so. You're going in that room by force or by choice. You're gonna walk on your own or they're gonna force you in there.
Oh my
like you don't get an option. And the crazy thing is like, still trying to wrap my head around how my innocent ass wound up in this fucking situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, right? There's real murderers. There's real rapists. There's real violent fucking people around me. I don't know the guy that they've locked me in the room with. Have no idea who he is, why he's here, what he's done to be here, where his mind is. Like, I don't know any of that. So, naturally, paranoia takes over. Right? Every time he fucking moves, I'm watching. When he breathes too hard, I'm watching. If he jumps up to piss at the wrong time, I'm watching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know you. My paranoia is on 20 at all times. You don't sleep because you don't know what the fuck is happening. And you quickly start to realize that, like I said, when that door is closed, they can't fucking hear you hollering down there at that desk. That desk is 30, 40 feet away from the first door. And mind you, there's 40 doors on one side. There's 40 on this side and 40 on that side. So the further you are down the hall, the less likely they are to hear you hollering. So that level of danger starts to fuck with you, right? Yeah. And I remember the very first act of violence that I was exposed to when I went to prison. The guy next to me was raped by his bunkie. And I could hear the hollering, the screaming, the furniture banging around. I could hear it. I was right next door to him. I could hear it.
Yeah.
The police didn't figure it out till the next morning. Like, that shit happened for hours. So just think, like, what mind frame that put me in.
How soon was this into your...
Couple of months.
God.
Fuck.
Couple of months. Like, I had just got there. And the next morning, I remember they opened everybody's door to go to breakfast. Like, breakfast is the place where you go eat is a different building. So they open all the doors, everybody goes out, you go eat, and you come back, and you go back to your room. And I remember when I came back to the room next door was taped off. They'd obviously, figured out
They knew
what happened. And at the time, I had no idea, like, what was going on. Like, I just thought they were fighting. Like, I had no idea, like, what was actually happening. I could only hear it.
Yeah.
But then when I found out what was happening, I was like, oh, fuck.
Do you remember who you're... I know you said it was a long time ago. Was he like a white guy, black guy, big guy, little guy?
Honestly, I couldn't
Were you
even
threatened
tell
by
you.
him at all, like physically? Like, that kind of thing?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
What about like
the thing about prison is like when you're there, all the rules go out the window. Big, small, black, white, Mexican, none of that shit matters at that point. Because at all times I feel like my life is in danger.
Yeah.
I don't care how big you are, it's me or you.
Yeah.
I don't care how small you are, it's me or you. I don't care what you look like. It's me or you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once you lock into that mindset, certain shit just doesn't matter anymore.
Was there ever a time like, I mean, you felt like, what was the time you felt like most threatened in jail? Was there ever a time where you're like, holy fuck?
Oh, absolutely.
What was the one where you felt like the most scared, the most threatened, whatever? Was there like, do you have a memory of that?
Absolutely. I remember this was in the first couple of years of me being in. And what they would try to do to try to keep the younger people safe, they would try to like put us all in certain areas together so that we were all around our own age group to try to minimize our contact with the older like predators and people that might prey on us. So they would try to like keep us together as much as possible. However, that only works to some extent, right? They can only separate us for so much. And I remember that there was, there's what we called Predator, this big gay guy that, you know, he was gay. And I remember I took something he did in my head and I considered it like he'd made a pass at me. And instinctively, I just clicked on.
Oh, shit.
And it's crazy, like, thinking about it in hindsight because there's not a lot of black officers inside. And I remember this one officer, he would try to pull a lot of us younger guys to the side and talk to us and, you know, stay away from this or stay away from that or, you know, avoid this type of situation, steer clear of this, you know, keep your eyes open for this. He would always try to coach us on how to stay out of trouble. And I remember that thought playing in my head from a previous conversation that I'd had with him. You know, if this happens, this is what this means. So I interpreted what this guy had did as him making a sexual pass at me. And I remember that officer being there. And I just fucking blinked out and went in. And I remember, like, when I got on him, I remember looking up at the officer because fights normally last 5-10 seconds before they come rushing in and pull you off. Like, they're normally like feet away. And I remember he was at the desk by himself and he paused before he radioed for help. And I remember, like, I looked up, and when I looked up, he was just smirking.
Yeah.
And I just, like, the very next thing that I remember was being tackled by, I remember this big ass white officer. We used to call, his name was Smith, and we used to call him Cornfed because he was fucking big as hell, and he had this thing about tackling people.
Fucking Cornfed just knew what to do.
Listen,
Yeah.
I mean, he like a big ass football player.
Yeah.
And,
He probably played for like Nebraska.
Yeah. Like, one of those types.
Yeah.
Like, dude was fucking humongous. And I remember, like, he had this thing about tackling people, and it was a running joke inside, like, if you get hit by him, you know you were fucking somebody up. You know you were fucking somebody up.
Yeah.
If he hit you, like, he was trying to get you off of him.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I went to, like, swing, and right as I went to swing, I just remember sliding across the floor. And I looked up, and Smith was on top of me.
Cornfed.
And I was like, you motherfucker.
Cornfed wanted no part of that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
It's
funny.
That shit's wild.
wild.
Like, are you, I guess, how are you at this point? You know, you said this was a couple of years into your term. Are you acclimated to the prison system at that point for the most part? Are you, it sounds like you kind of know the rules, like you're getting coached up, that kind of thing. Are you?
There's no such thing as knowing the rules in prison.
Okay. When I mean rules, what I meant by was what that officer was trying to coach you up on. Like, if this guy's doing this, he's making a pass on you, stay away from this guy if you want to get involved.
Well, the thing about prison is you got to think, like, prison is a highly concentrated environment of the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
So anything could be interpreted as somebody making a pass at you. Words,
Yeah.
gestures, eye contact, elbow, like anything could be misinterpreted, right? So for me, my paranoia level was always high. And as much as you try to stay out of trouble, sometimes that shit finds you. But you also learn that in those early years, you know, I'm looking at the whole circumstance. I'm looking at I could be here for a really long fucking time. And, you know, a part of me is like, I got to set the tone early. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And, you know, you start to learn how to move in a way that either avoids or invites certain shit.
Are you able to see like your family or you mentioned you had 2 little babies at this time. Are you able to see them? Are you able to see your mom or your like are your boys, are anyone coming in to visit you during these
Yeah.
You are?
So
That's got to be at least like a little bit of like hope or a little bit of like,
oh hell yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what the fuck to say.
It's a level of peace that's
Peace.
associated
Yeah.
with like beyond just the visual of seeing familiar faces. It allows you to escape the prison environment for a few minutes. So yeah, I was getting visits practically once a month, once every couple of months. They stayed consistent. There was a consistent cadence the entire time that I was incarcerated. But that also helped me stay grounded as much as possible, because the way the rules are set up is prison is a privilege. So if you get in trouble, they can take away those visits. So, you know, I was always trying to be mindful of minimizing the things that I got myself in out of fear of losing the ability to stay connected to my family.
Yeah, it's got to be. Go ahead.
What kind of situation, you mentioned these things. Can you get into any specifics about like getting yourself into certain situations? Like what kind of stuff finds you, like you said? Like can you just go into prison and just keep your head down, not get bothered? It sounds like it's almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. But it's possible. The chances of it happening are very small. Like you have to be a very strong-minded person to stay away from shit. Like gangs are real. That shit's absolutely real. Being targeted by officers, that's absolutely real. Being targeted by gangs for not wanting to be affiliated is real. Being an innocent bystander in somebody else's shit is real. If your bunkie is into it with somebody, you might as well be prepared, because if they come in that room, it's you and him in there. You don't get to move out of the way. You don't get to jump on your bunk and hide. Like there's nowhere to fucking go.
Oh my God.
Like you could be a casualty to somebody else's shit. You could literally be minding your own business. And the thing about prison is what makes prison different from society. I can shoot you from across the street. I can pick you off from down the block. I can run you over with a car and keep going. Everything in prison is personal. I have to get into your personal space to harm you.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get within reaching distance to harm you. So the thing about prison is like, bro, shit can happen fast. And there's certain things that you start to develop over time that you just know, right? You never walk to the shower with shower shoes on. It's a no-no, absolute no-no. And people that have been incarcerated for years know this.
Wait, why?
Because if somebody gets on your ass and you ain't got no shoes on, how you gonna defend yourself?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you sliding all over the floor. Your ass
My
is
ass
out of
is
there.
in there, like
You're done.
La 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 la.
Yeah, like you're done. You can't defend yourself.
That makes sense.
So,
but like little things like that.
But you do things like that to minimize your ability to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Right.
God.
Like you have to stay on guard, because you never know when things can happen. It can happen by choice, by accident. I mean, even there's small things that you learn to pick up on, subtle cues. Like, for example, as we walked over from the bar, right? We all walked together. So in prison, they have a track that people walk around for exercise.
Indoor?
Outdoor. And that track, you know, everybody seems to be fucking programmed to walk the same direction. I don't know why, but we are, right? There's nothing that says you have to do it. People just walk the same direction. But the thing about it is, like, one of the tactics that different people, different gangs, different organizations will use is say they want Joe. but you just happen to be talking to Joe, right? You're walking together, casual conversation. Somebody will walk in between you, right? That's normal in society. People walk in between us all the fucking time. But in prison, a walk in between you to give them space, right? It moves you out of the way so that you don't become a casualty, and it separates you from him, and now your ass is done.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So you're always paying attention for anybody that's walking oddly, you know, or if like walking in between people is an absolute, that will get you fucked up.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Well,
And the crazy thing is like sometimes like if me and you are walking together, you better be ready to go, and vice versa, because you never know what might happen. So you have to be careful who you communicate with. You have to be careful who you connect yourself to, because if we're walking together and a fight breaks out with me and you don't help, you've got to answer to some other people about why you didn't help.
Were you
Dude, I would shake your ass so hard if you fucking didn't help me out. I'd be fucking just shaking the motherfucker. And then what's his name? Cornfed just comes tackle my ass or whatever.
I just
Fuck.
picture Cornfed with a beard too.
I do too.
I'm like,
That was a
what's
big
his
ass
name?
dude.
Big boss man from the WWE.
Yeah.
So, I guess now we're in prison stories. What's the most fucked up thing you saw, if you don't mind telling us? Like, I mean, violence wise. And you don't have to get into it if you don't want to. I mean, I get it.
Violence wise.
Well, that thing.
Is there just so many? How often? How
3 months in.
Sorry, sorry to interrupt you, but how often does that happen? Like a fight, something like
That shit's normal.
like every day.
Every day.
Really?
That shit's normal.
So you can't keep your head down and just be like, I'm here for life. Just don't bother me.
I mean, you can, but that shit comes with time. That shit comes with respect. That shit
Right.
comes
Fucking
with
gotta be
people.
an OG to be like that type of
Yeah.
shit.
Like you
But does that mean you have to prove yourself too to get to that point? Meaning, like, don't fuck with me.
there's very few people in prison that have not established themselves in a don't fuck with me zone. Like
I'd be so cooked in prison. I'd be
Cooked. I would have a bet who would be more cooked. Me versus you. And I think
I'd be so done.
Vegas would have like even bet between the two of us.
I think the worst thing that I've seen was a riot.
Really?
Oh, you've been a part of like there was a not necessarily you, but there was a riot.
Hell yeah. And I went through prison when they were like doing away with gun towers and shit. And I remember like this big ass fight broke out. And we heard the gun go off. Boom. And everybody kind of froze like, was that the fucking gun? No way, that was the gun. And then you hear them screaming, get the fuck on the ground, get the fuck. You turn around and you look, and the second shot goes off. Boom. And then you just see the blood. You're like, oh shit.
Was the blood from the gun or a fight that was breaking out that somebody got killed or something?
It was a gang fight. It was two opposing gangs, and the first shot was the warning shot for them to stop stabbing each other, and the second shot was, I'm going to kill you if you don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many
first shot
people? How
was-
many people were involved in that fight, in a gang fight like that?
I think 16.
Roughly.
It was like 16 or 18. Like that
9
shit
on
just
9 type thing, or
yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I remember like shit erupted so fast, like general conversation, and the next thing you know, shot goes off. Boom. You're like,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
was this outside, like in the yard or whatever?
Fuck,
they call it?
dude.
Yeah, and it's always, and trust me, we've heard warning shots before. You know what I'm saying? Like they do that shit for fun sometimes, just to keep you scared, keep you on your
Corn-fed just
toes.
blowing
Like,
off his
they just
rifle.
fucking fire one off just for the sake of it, and then they look at you and start laughing, like, bitch,
Yeah.
the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, Look at that guy.
It was the second shot that got everybody's attention.
Oh my God.
By policy, the first one has to be the warning shot, but the second one is when it was like, oh.
So Ken, you talked about your early life. You talked about how you got, falsely accused, into prison, been in prison for how many years were you in prison total? 16?
16.
Tell us how eventually you got exonerated from how you talked about briefly about this college that helped you out, this university, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about like, shit, I might be getting out of prison. Can you kind of like tell us how you got out of prison, that story?
So, excuse me. The journalism students do their thing. They never told me what they found. They just told me they were writing an article. They felt like they had enough to write the article, right? Next thing you know, I'm on the front page of the Detroit Free Press. October 18, 2018. It was a Saturday. I was on the front page of the newspaper. And the documents that they had uncovered questioned who was telling the truth. When it comes to the authorities, the police, the prosecutor, they had uncovered original unredacted documents that questioned the validity of what had been stated at trial. I become front page of the newspaper, and now many different people want to talk to me. The Innocence Project is writing me letters. The prosecutor's office is sending messages. Other reporters, podcast people, like everybody's trying to get in touch with me. That's when, for clarity, when I found out that the journalism students were going to review my case, that's when the energy started to shift. That's when, in my head, shit got real. Like all my screaming, hollering, that's when it got real. Like it went from doomsday to hell yeah, this might be happening.
Wow.
Right? The energy starts to shift. That article comes out and it's like, oh, I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling like, okay, because now it's no longer just me saying it, right? I've got a whole school of people that now believe me too.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer just me screaming to the top of my lungs trying to convince people. They're doing it. And mind you, I had no influence on the conclusion that they came to. They came to this conclusion completely based on the evidence. None of it was anything that had to do with me. They did their homework. This was the conclusion they came to, and then they told the world about it.
So important that they did it, not you. You had
Exactly.
no influence. That was
Completely
all
unbiased.
them.
Completely unbiased,
Yes.
right? So now the energy starts to shift. I'm feeling good. Now, the thing about that school was they were journalists. They weren't lawyers. The Innocence Project comes to see me, and I'm one of the few people in the country that I had the opportunity to choose between two different Innocence Projects. I got to choose between here in Michigan, and there was another one out in New Jersey, Centurion Ministries, who I had been on the waiting list for 7 years. This student comes to see me, and she's interested in the case. Untested, she hadn't even passed the bar exam. She was literally a college student. And she goes, I really like this case. I really believe in your innocence. We've got a grant that hasn't been made public yet. If you agree to let me work on your case, I will make sure that you're the first case that we use this grant on. Thought about it. It was a very hard decision. And the reason it was a hard decision because the other innocence organization in New Jersey wasn't your traditional innocence organization. This was actually like a private organization that were a bunch of retired people that just wanted to see criminal justice reform, right? And their criteria was either we're going to get you out of prison or you're going to die in prison. Those are your only two options. Either we're going to give you everything we got to prove it or you're going to die in there, which is very different from the traditional innocence projects. It's like we're going to work on it until we can't, and then once we're done with it, if we can't prove your innocence, I don't know what to tell you, right? So when she comes to me with this offer, I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I went with the untested. I went with the college student, and Cooley Innocence Project did their own independent investigation. They verified that the documents that the journalism students had found and wrote about were legit, that they came from a credible source, and they contacted the prosecutor's office about it. The prosecutor's office also did their own independent investigation to verify that the documents were legit, that what was said came from where the journalism students said that it had come from. And not long after that, I was released. It took about 3 years after that article.
You say not long. 3 years still. I mean,
So that
to
was
me,
2018 to
that's
2021.
Yes.
That's crazy.
The wheels of justice move slow.
God.
Oh my God. Are you religious? Because you brought up God. You said you said by the grace of God. Are you a religious man at all or no?
Listen, man, me and God got our own relationship. I in a traditional sense, I don't know what the answer to that question is. I know that me and him done had some tough conversations, and I talk to God like I talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily subscribe to what other people may seem acceptable. Like I do what's good for me.
Man, dude. So 2018, 2021, you're finally out. What is the first day? What's your first day like when you're finally exonerated? Hey, my man didn't do it. I'm getting goosebumps right now. What's your first day like when you get out? He's like, I'm going to Coney Island. Like, I want some food. Like, what are you doing? What's your first day like?
Man, shit was a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind.
A lot of media, I'm assuming, a lot of press.
There's a lot of press.
But like, you want to be with your family, your kids. I'm sure you want food somewhere. Like, what did you do?
The very first, so I was released from a prison in Ionia, Michigan, which is about 2 hours away from Detroit. There was press out in the parking lot when I came out. There's a lot of family, some friends, some other exonerees that were waiting out there. After talking to everybody, we left. McDonald's was the first restaurant. Seriously. The people kept asking, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Food. Where the fuck's the food at? Like,
Yeah,
on
exactly.
something that's not processed. Like, I don't want that shit in there. Like,
Yeah.
Whatever is the first restaurant on the way home is where we're stopping. Just so happened, it happened to be McDonald's. But the entire ride home, I was doing press interviews all the way home. And I get home. I got to my mom's house, and there were so many people waiting. So many people waiting. And it's
overwhelming that must have been.
I was just about to say that. It's crazy because, yes, you want to be showered in love, but at the same time, that shit was like the paranoid side of me.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm used to people not touching me.
You got your cousin
Don't
touching your
get
back
too close.
here.
You know what I'm saying?
Jumping on your back.
Man, oh my God, I walk into this house and everybody's screaming and they,
You gotta walk between conversations. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Like, and like it's that dichotomy of, I know they mean well, but they also don't know how triggering this is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm responding with a smile, but my insides are going bananas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like my insides are
Yeah.
doing backflips because I'm reaching for the hug, but I'm cringing on the inside.
Yeah.
You're patting,
God, that's
you're
gotta be
patting
so
them
weird.
down.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't know what modern handshakes look like. You don't know what modern hugs look like.
Yeah.
Like, or I haven't been touched in
God,
a decade and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
I have so many
How you doing, man?
questions.
Where's the telegram here?
but there's kids. Like I haven't played with a kid in 15 years.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's food. Like I don't know what none of this stuff is. You know, they're handing me cell phones. I've got not the slightest idea how to use any of this shit. And it was extremely overwhelming. That first day was.
Did you even sleep at night? Like, could you even sleep? You're in this
Hell no.
bed. It's kind of quiet. I bet. Like, you're probably just like,
For a week, you
beyond
Yeah.
quiet, bro? You got to think like I haven't been in a place where you can turn the lights off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
keep the lights
You're
on.
like-
and you got to think like, I mean, y'all been around me for a few hours. Like I'm pretty well put together, but
Yes.
just imagine my peers that like everybody can't deal with darkness. Everybody can't deal with their own thoughts when the lights go off and they get quiet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want some people in that type of environment.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so for me, those first couple nights were hell. Those first couple nights of like I don't know what quiet feels like. It ain't been
Think about
quiet
that.
in
Like, you didn't
20
even think,
years.
You didn't think about that.
Yeah, I would.
You
drive
know?
me- There's so many emotions. Obviously, I do want to back up a little bit. What did you order from McDonald's when you got it? Do you remember what you ordered?
Hell no.
Like a Big
It was a
Mac?
Big Mac,
Was
a
it
20
like a
piece.
I
double
don't even
quarter pounder
remember.
of
Yeah.
cheese?
I don't even remember.
Just give me it all.
Fries.
Just take, order,
Yeah.
I'll take a McChicken, fillet of fish. Take the surf and turf.
I can tell you this though. That was the first time that I was stuck. And I mean stuck in a bad way. Like there were so many choices on the menu, I didn't know what to say.
Right, yeah.
But the thing about it is, like, in prison, there's 3 bags of chips.
Yeah.
There's only 1 brand of peanut butter. There's only 1 pack of jelly. So to look at the menu and see so many different options, I was frozen.
Wow.
I was frozen because I hadn't had that many choices
Yeah.
in years.
You're like, a Big Mac's $20 now?
Yeah.
Shit, back in my day.
But I mean, even like that's
No, I get it though. Like
that's something that
like all these little things though, like you don't even think about. Like your aunt want to hug you, or like, you know, these little kids coming up and touching you, grabbing your leg, or like the choices of a menu, like those little laying in bed at night by yourself for the first time, and like, wait, the lights are off. Like, what the fuck? Like, all those little things gotta just like, you know, you just don't think about.
yeah.
I do have another question I've been thinking about. Back in the day where you got arrested, it was 2005, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Cell phones were around.
I knew you were about to ask that question. I knew you were about
Cell
to ask
phones
that.
were around.
Well, do you have the Snake, the
hold
Nokia?
Hold on, but more importantly, did they not have the capability to say ping your phone? But like, no, his phone was here. That's another piece of evidence. Like,
Oh, they did. They chose not to.
That's a good. You could ping phone. That's actually.
well, you know what I mean? Like
can't
from
ping
a,
phone?
like when you're
Yeah.
when you have
they
Saw it on
somebody's life
Dateline
on
the
the
other day.
line,
They
like
pinged the guy's phone. He was
right,
in the.
you kind of
he
know
was the
that,
killer.
like,
They did.
you know,
They
like
weren't
nowadays
interested
you
in
can't
that.
go in it. We're
Yeah.
a surveillance society now, but I know 2005 was a little differently, and there
No,
was
yeah,
probably
that's
Nokia
great.
phones, whereas
It was Nextel.
Yeah.
in Nextel.
Oh, the where you like the hit the beat.
Listen, when I went to prison, bro, they were just getting on colored screens and shit.
right.
Remember, the screens were green for years. Like,
Yeah.
They were just starting to have the color phone, the color screen.
that is hilarious.
So that which leads me into a zillion other questions. Okay, so the cell phone thing, you know, is that probably the one thing that, like, it obviously changed the world, the cell phone, you know? Is that something, what were some of those things you're like, oh my God, like cell phones and like internet, and I know you had the internet back then, but it wasn't like it is 16 years later. What were some of those things like you were just in awe of, like, oh my God?
The biggest thing that fucked me up when I got home was Zoom.
Zoom.
Like that, bro, you were still fucking sending pictures to people back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
then you come home and now I can talk to somebody in California in real time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, you're doing interviews and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
like that was different.
What about like you're like fucking Netflix? What the fuck is this shit? Or like
But
cable
no,
chains?
so in prison, certain facilities have like
Oh,
Netflix
they
accounts, so
hook
they
you
would
up.
show. Yeah, they
that's-
watch like they show movies. So all the TVs are connected through CCTV.
Okay.
So like the recreational director would have, like, we could watch certain movies.
Yeah.
Like on weekends, they would play whatever the new hot releases were on DVD.
Oh, okay. So you got,
so
you,
we
you
were.
had- you
I
had-
was.
you
I
were
was
up to-
pretty.
you're up to date there.
Yeah. To some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. To some degree, we were able to watch certain stuff. But like Netflix wasn't. I knew about Netflix. Zoom was a big one. FaceTime was a big one. The whole thing about iPhone, Android was crazy to me. Crazy, because when I went to prison, it was Nextel, Sprint, T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Like, you had options back when I went to
StarTech,
prison,
a
and
flip
now it's
phone or
like
whatever.
you got two choices: it's Android or iPhone. Like,
Yeah.
take your pick.
Yeah.
And like that was nuts to me. And then, wireless paying for stuff, like
Yeah, just-
cashless registers.
Cash App, all that shit.
Everything's digital. Yeah.
Yeah, digital money, like that shit was wild. That was fucking nuts to me.
So for someone like you, you're I gotta think, like, you get out of prison, you're trying to get your life back together. You are you applying for jobs at this point? Because like, who's hiring? Like, what like, who the fuck is gonna hire this guy? You know, but like, you're exonerated. You like, what happened after that? Like, and are you applying? What are you doing as once you get out? Like, what are you trying to do for a career at this point?
I don't know. I was looking for anything that I could make some money off of.
And people can they see your background? I mean, you just
Yes.
Google your name, that you type your name in, they know what's going on.
So here's the thing. So people assume that the moment you walk out of prison, your record's clear. Right? You're all on the news because, you know, you were exonerated. The reality is that's shit so far from the truth. Your record is not clear. There's a whole court process that has to take place in order for that to happen. So every time I filled out for a job application, it came up on my background. Every time I filled out for housing, it came up on my background. And funny story, I remember my stepfather is a supervisor at Stellantis. He's been there for long before I went to prison. And at that point, like, I'm trying to get any job, anything where I can feed myself, right? And I remember he sends me his referral code. He's like, fill this out. And I do. I go through the whole process. I get it filled out. And the background check comes back. And the guy he calls me. And he's like, thanks for, applying. Unfortunately, your background prevents you from working for us. And I'm trying to explain at that point, like, it's an error. And he's like, no, I Googled it, and, it still shows that there's an active conviction. And I'm like, I understand, but I'm telling you, like, it's an error. And he's like, nah, I got to go by my procedures. My procedure says check it, verify it with Google, and Google says such and such. I said, well, Google also says that I'm serving a life sentence. So what do you think happened? I broke out of prison and applied for a job at your facility?
Yeah.
Like, both can't be true, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And he starts laughing, and he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Give me a couple days. Let me look into this a little further. I'm like, I've got court documents because at that point, like, my lawyers had advised me, like, keep your documents on you.
Smart.
Take a picture of them, have them in your phone in case you run into any trouble.
On that Android you got or whatever.
iPhone.
Yeah.
And then, he's like, I'm like, I've got documents I can show you, I can verify. And he's like, okay, but I promise you, like, the taste that was left in my mouth after that conversation was like, the fuck am I trying to prove like, clearly both things can't be true.
Right.
Like, why am I trying to explain something that you clearly see is a double negative here?
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, he calls me back a few days later, and he's like, you're right. I called the court. I verified it. I'm sorry. You can proceed with the application process. And at that point, I was like, never mind. I'm not even interested no more. And, to this day, like, that still haunts me because I'm like, I left one fight to jump into another one. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
You're
100%.
I'm innocent enough to be released from prison, but I'm not innocent enough for people to take my word at face value. Like, that shit became a whole nother argument. And I had to go through that so many times. Every time I filled out for employment, every time, I wanted to do anything, I had to go through that. And it got to the point where I was just like, this shit's not going to work. And, like, that started me on my road to advocacy, because it's like, if I'm having this much trouble, and I came home with an enormous amount of help. I had politicians, business people, family members, money. I had everything that a person could need to have a successful transition back into society, but yet I was still running into these problems. And it started making me think, like, well, if I got to go through all this shit, what do other people have to go through?
Yeah.
And you had all that support too on the back end, you know?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I could call my lawyer at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, you learn, one of the very first things that I learned when I first came home was, like, relationships matter, and keeping good people around you matter. Like, I'm confident right here, right now. Like, I could call my lawyer at 8:40 right now, and she'd answer her phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because she knows I'm not calling just for any reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not calling just to chit chat at 9 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody has that same ability. Not everyone has those same resources. So it started to make me question, like, society is really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people naturally.
You think you just figured that out? You spent
I did. Like,
hey, dude, you spent 16 years in prison
because I
you didn't
came
do it.
home with this thought in my head, like, yes, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Right.
But the reality was, like, I just shifted to another fight.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're doing right now. I think it's important,
Yeah.
as we kind of not wrap it up per se, but I still have a zillion other questions, but I think it's important that we get into what you're doing right now. Obviously the tongue twister, why don't you say it? So
Don't
I don't
say it
butcher
slow.
it.
Go
So
ahead, say it slow. Come on. You got to try it at least once.
Let's see. Exoneration.
Nope, you fired. Hey, get past the first word, bro.
Exoneration.
That's an organization of exonerees.
Organization of exonerees. Got it. And just tell us about that. Like,
the organization of exonerees it started as a brotherhood. And in all fairness, just, to back up a little bit to give you some of that pre-story. When I walked out of prison, there were 5 other exonerees standing in that parking lot.
Wow.
Those were 5 guys that I didn't know, 5 guys that had no connection to me, 5 guys that were there simply to see me walk out of that prison. The Wayne County Conviction Integrity Unit was started in 2018. I was the 27th exoneree to walk out.
Wow.
Based on that unit, right? Just to put some context to that, right? That means I watched 26 people walk out of prison before it was my turn. 5 of them were sitting in that parking lot when I walked out. And they had already started sort of like this de facto group. They were meeting once a month. They quickly realized that our individual problems were not actually individual. The things that we were going through on many different levels, we all shared that same experience. So, to her credit, Valerie Newman, the director of the Wayne County Conviction Integrity Unit, had this thought that we should be fellowshipping with each other once a month to kind of talk through some of these
What a good idea.
problems.
Shout out Valerie.
Absolutely. And those guys were there specifically just to see me do good. Not long after I came home in February, I was voted leader of the group in April, partly because of what we call neutral in prison, because I wasn't a part of any other affiliations, no religious changes, no gang affiliations. What you see me do now is exactly what I did inside. I stood up for other people when, the time was right or when I felt like people were being bullied. One of my biggest pet peeves is bullies. I will go to the ends of the earth when I feel like somebody's being picked on or singled out or, anything that makes me feel like they're being bullied in any kind of way. So the guys voted me as leader of the group. I eventually helped us navigate becoming a nonprofit. We became a nonprofit in 2022. And from there, we were already advocating. One of my biggest things was I had to get a birth certificate, an ID, a social security card before I could ever apply for a job. I had to have all those documents. And strangely enough, none of my family or anybody of professional background knew how to get this stuff.
Yeah.
Most people know where their ID is. Most people know where their birth certificate is. Most people know where their social security card is. Right? So nobody knew how to tell me how to get this stuff. But the people that did were fellow exonerees. I could go to them and be like, yo, who had this problem? And they would all explain to me how they solved it, and then I'd navigate it based off of what they told me. So it took me eventually 6 months to get all of my documents. And during that process, I started to meet legislators and business people that were interested in trying to be helpful. And we started having those conversations around, like, how do we fix this? Because this is dumb. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not even a citizen of the state of Michigan without these documents.
Yeah.
And I had them before I went to prison. Where are they
what am I
now?
supposed to do?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not
What am
my
I
fault
gonna
they
do?
got misplaced. Why am I being penalized for this?
Yeah.
And long story short, that was the early stages of my advocacy, understanding that these problems weren't unique to myself, but also wanting to make a better way for the people that came after us. We understood that, and I still understand to this day, the exonerations aren't going to stop. Innocent people are not going to stop coming home. And we want to do the best that we can to make sure that their path doesn't look like ours did. And, you know, in so doing, you know, that comes with a lot of different stuff, whether it's legislation or policy reform or housing or resources. You know, we've learned to fill in some gaps that most people wouldn't normally think about.
Yeah.
You know, the things that, you know, I've said to you about my own journey, about the darkness and, you know, the noises and the kids and, you know, the cameras when I'm walking out of prison. You know, we've learned to run interference on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, minimize it maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, even on the most basic level, when people walk out of prison, automatically it happens every single fucking time. Families go buy shoes, they go buy clothes, they go buy coats, they go buy hats. They buy all the shit that you want to wear, right? And then one of us comes in and we ask a very logical question, and then everybody's looking at us like, where's he going to sleep?
Oh, my God.
Do you have an air mattress? Do you have pillows? Do you have bedding? Like,
Yeah.
you have pillow? Like, where's he going to sleep? You bought all these fucking clothes. Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep in good clothes. But where am I sleeping?
he's gonna be warm
thanks.
as hell in them clothes.
Yeah.
But when you think, and the light bulb comes on every single time when we say that, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, we've learned to navigate different conversations, right? Like, it might not be a good idea to have someone in a house full of people.
Right. I mean, listen, your family probably meant well, but yeah, now that you say that, it makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
But the flip side of that too is like,
they love you, they want to
Yeah.
be around you, they want to hug
maybe
you.
slowly, gradually. get
But
into
like
that a little
they
bit.
don't understand the flip end of that, and
Right.
so a little bit of education on that goes a long way. 100%.
but I mean, but again, like the flip side too is like, what does that look like? Does that mean we put them in a hotel? Does that mean, you know,
Right.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And we have to navigate that for each individual person.
God, I mean, you would like to think that this does not happen as often as it does. But you're talking about 27 people. I saw on a YouTube clip there was, I don't know, 10, 15 people, and when they, you'll have to look it up on YouTube or whatever, but they turn around and it shows the number of years that each.
That was us.
That's unbelievable, and it
was us.
really hits home when you see it like that. You're like, 40 years, 20 years, 10. You know, it's like, which leads me to my next question: How prevalent is this? Meaning, how many, like, if you had to take a wild guess of the percentage of the people that you spent time in prison with, how many people were innocent? That you think were innocent, or you had a good grasp, but yeah, that guy probably didn't do it, or I know he didn't do it.
I don't know the exact number to that, but what I can say is there's a healthy amount. And I think where society has this misconception is people have a tendency to think that it couldn't happen to them. And I want to be clear when I say nobody's off limits.
Yeah.
That's so.
And I mean that in the most sincere way. We've got former law enforcement agents with Air Force One clearance that were put on death row. We've got people that were sent to prison for crimes that wasn't actually a crime. We've got white people, we've got black people, we've got Asian people, we've got non-English speaking people, we've got Latinos. Like, no one is exempt.
If there's anyone listening to this right now, like, is there like one or two ways we can help out your organization? Like, maybe monetary, maybe it's not monetary. Like, is there like any kind of like charities? Is there kind of like any, like, is there anything like we can do that's listening to help you out in your passion, your drive, your organization? That maybe one or two small requests. Like, what can we do? Someone listening in the car right now is like, fuck, I can relate to this. My uncle's in the same position, or whatever the case may be. What can we do to help?
The average Joe to the
Yeah,
ordinary
like what can
legend.
an average person do listening to help out your organization?
I mean, first things first, like, we are a nonprofit, right? Financial resources are always needed because the things that we sometimes need to provide for people are non-traditional. Right? The system doesn't. There's no way for you to call someone and ask. You know, for example, we had a guy recently that he's a college student, but because his convictions are still there, he can't get a job, right? And he calls and he's like, "I got a flat tire, and I can't afford to get another one, but I got school at 2:30." right? Like that's a situation, like we don't have the option to say no in that situation. So financial resources are always helpful because
How do you donate? Can you say it like?
yes. So we do have a website, organizationofexonerees.com. There is a donate button on it. We also have a gala once a year. It's typically in October. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. So we try to bring awareness throughout the entire month of October. Our gala is a huge one. That it's a huge fundraiser, and it's a gala where we bring together many people from many different disciplines, the business community, politics, law, banking, financial advisors. Like that is one space where you don't know who's going to be in that room. But all of those resources, all of that money that gets brought in gets put back out into helping people get their lives back together. The organization of exonerees.com, again, has a donate button, and, it is tax deductible. We can provide that. But, for people that can't provide financially, there are other ways. Whether it's, we travel across the country, whether it's donating Sky Miles or Airbnbs, like there's always things that people can be helpful with. When it, and believe it or not, this is one that has gotten a lot done for us, but access. I don't need you to have the conversation for me. I need you to get me in the room so I can have the conversation myself.
Yeah.
I don't need you to speak for me. I need you to get me access to the people that wouldn't otherwise hear from me, because that's how we make change. That's how we open the doors for the people that can't speak up for themselves, right? That doesn't cost you anything to introduce me to your friend group. That doesn't cost me anything to introduce me to the people on your platform or give us access to, politicians that someone may know or family members. It's those coffee table conversations that matter.
Normally Joey asks this, I'll go here, but we always like to ask, before we end, is there anything we missed? Is there anything you want to share? Is there any one last story that, Joey didn't ask me this, and I think I should share it. Is there one last thing? And if not, that's totally fine too. Some people are like, no, we're good. I want to get the hell out of here. It's been 2 hours. This is one of our longest ones, but it's been so informative to us. Is there any one last thing you want to, is there anything you want to share to us? One last story, anything you want to share at all?
Yeah, I want to say this in relation to your last question about how people can be helpful. And I mean this with the utmost respect to everybody that will hear this. We want good people around us. Don't come around because you think there's a bag of money associated with an exoneree. Don't come around because you think you can benefit somewhere down the line. We gatekeep a lot because this is a very vulnerable population. Some of the people that I represent don't have the ability to speak up for themselves. If this is the lane you want to step into, show it, right? Show it. Don't charge us what you would charge everybody else. Don't put us in spaces that you would put other people, right? And I say that, again, with all due respect. But the reality is we have people that can't really defend themselves, which makes them easy targets for people that can. I take that personal. And I promise you, I will not stop at anything to make sure that my people are safe. I'm not putting anybody in a room with someone where I feel like they could be vulnerable or taken advantage of. I want people around us that are around us for the right reasons. We need people around us that have good intentions. We need people around us that are here to genuinely help and not prey. Exonerations, the common denominator with all of criminal justice reform is poverty. I didn't meet very many rich people incarcerated. I didn't. I didn't meet very many people with master's degrees or PhDs in prison. So it makes this a very unique population of people. And we get a lot of, I want to help. But then you quickly realize that there's some sort of gain on the back end for it. People have a tendency to look at exonerees as if they're a walking bag of money.
Which is insane to me. Like to think that like you just went through 16 years of life. And that was a question I had maybe later, but
Go ahead.
like to think like
I got time.
that there are people that, like, out there that were like,
I still got a little
yeah, he
bit
hasn't been screwed over for, the better part of 15, 20 years almost. I'm going to try to go after whatever money you got. It could be 20 million. It's still not worth it. But man, that is wild.
But you got to think like there's a lot of money in this space.
I guess.
I mean, when
And you said too, like vulnerability too, like,
Yeah.
and you got to think like people's stories get exploited. It's, people write books and do Netflix series. Oftentimes the exonerees don't see anything.
Yeah, where's my part? Where's my part?
And
this story was me.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, not to say that's because we understand the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
We understand the business side of things. But the other part of that, too, is like, you didn't call me because you wanted to help me write a book. You called me because there was a financial incentive for you to help me write this book.
Well, you know what you said, though? Like, Ken, like, is like...
That lawyer didn't call you to help you with that lawsuit for free. He called you because he wants 40% of your lawsuit.
Yeah, and it goes back to you, though, like, talking about bullies, too, like... You got all these people that you're trying to help, and like those people, the way you got to look at it, those are like just bullies trying to like get in and try, and it's just like, you're smart enough, you're intelligent enough to know and distinguish who's the bully and who's not, who's for real, who's fake, and like you coming here today and like laying out your story, I can't help but like to get emotional. Then I get excited. Then I got scared. Then I was happy.
The range of emotions that he went through.
It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And then you telling me like you get out of prison, there's 5 people that are right there. You don't even know that were in your shoes. Then I cried again. Like I was full of emotions. And so like
it's a roller coaster for sure.
Fuck, dude. Like
I do have one question.
Yeah, go ahead. But I'll just end with this though, and then I'll let Joey go. Is like I'm grateful for people like you to share your story, because I guarantee there's people out there that probably feel like they're on an island and they don't have to. There's other people that are in your shoes that can be like, holy fuck, there's someone out there that's just like me. And I can finally like turn to someone. I can relate to someone, and like, and it for me, it's probably not easy. Maybe it is. I don't know you that well, but Ken, it's probably not easy to like be so open. Like you barely know Joey and I, like, but you're open and you're honest and you're transparent. That's a scary thing. And, if you can help like one person that's on that island, that's on that, like, holy fuck, I can relate to this guy, that puts a smile on my face. And so I just want to say, listen, man, I'm so great. I'm Joey, I'll pass to you soon, but like, I'm so grateful for you to be here. And I like what you're doing, and your arc of your life is fucking nuts. But like the other side, it's like Shawshank when he like goes through the fucking sewer and the shit, and he tears off his shit and he's like, yeah, freedom. Yeah. That's Ken. And now he's just like doing his best thing to help others. Holy fuck, dude. Yeah. Like you can hear it. I'm excited. I'm proud. I'm grateful for you to share your story. So I appreciate you, man. And Joey, I'll kind of let you do your thing and end it how you want to.
9,000 questions I want to ask you, and I know you say you have time.
We'll do season 2 next.
Y'all are the ones with the little kids at home.
Right.
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. Randy's just thinking about all the money back there. He's like, I'm going to charge these motherfuckers $1,000.
We just talked about the range of emotions, right? Like you go from every extreme to another, and you keep it together. how do you not have hate in your heart? I've talked to you for approximately 3 or 4 hours now, and not one time have you badmouthed anybody. Not one time you said fuck this guy or fuck this, and you never felt bad for yourself clearly. And I think it shows on this podcast. But how do you not have hate in your heart?
One of the biggest lessons I learned in doing this work is we're not fighting people, we're fighting the system. We're fighting a culture. Those police officers didn't operate that way because they were bad. They operated that way because the culture allowed them to exist.
I mean, let me cut you off on that. Really, you really believe that they're not bad people? They just were like, oh, this is how it's done?
I'll say it this way, right? No one in this world is going to convince me that some cop waited 20 years into his career to start framing people. You're not going to convince me of that. It started small. He never got reprimanded, and it grew and it grew and it grew. It went from probably drugs and guns to eventually murder. You're never going to convince me that somebody waited that far into their career to start doing this. The culture allowed that person to exist. And I think the problem is we know him, we know them by name, right? But what about all the ones we don't know by name? Because all we do is pick one off and then another one pops up. The culture allows them to exist. What that prosecutor knew, again, you're not going to convince me he waited 20, 25 years into his career to start ignoring shit. He's been doing this for a long time. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter because in his mind, he was probably doing what was right. And the only reason that he accepted it as right because the culture allowed him to believe he was doing what was right. We're not fighting people because this, in my opinion, it's just like the drug game, bro. You knock off the head, another one pops up. You knock off the head, another one pops up. So what? We know him by name. How many more of him are there? How many more of them are there? Like, we never stop hearing stories about bad cops. You know why we don't stop hearing them? Because there's no accountability to it.
Yeah, they are the judge, jury, and executioner, right?
I mean, let's use this for an analogy, for example. Kids. When a kid does something that you don't like and you don't reprimand that kid, what happens? They get bolder and bolder and bolder.
Yeah.
Right. It started with the Starburst, and then it graduated to a cookie. Next thing you know, he's eating out of your plate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's taking it
You
because
let it happen.
because you allowed it to
Yeah,
happen.
Somebody did, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability. There's nobody to stop it or to say. And they just got through the ranks, and the higher up they go, it's a part of the culture. You are, you can look at it like that. You can look at it a different way as well. I just find it very interesting and fascinating that you just don't have like this angry chip on your shoulder. Your chip on your shoulder, you've obviously carried in helping people, and you put that into a positive rather than a negative. But for me, just the way I operate, and I didn't serve 16 years in prison, something I didn't do.
He would have been shaking like his first year.
And you know, I grew up around a lot of cops. I did in Detroit. My neighborhood was filled with cops. All my friends' most of my friends' dads were either cops or firefighters. Where I grew up, we lived in that neighborhood. And so for me, it was just like you said, they'll do the right thing. And I, in my heart of hearts, knowing them, how I did personally, they were, but then you find there are a lot of bad cops out there, and you're right. The accountability, I guess, thing is the most frustrating because, you know, you can sit there, be innocent. There's evidence showing that you're innocent and everything. And I just, like Danny said, I don't want to repeat what he said, but the amount of respect I have for you just in the few hours and the way you carry yourself and just the guy that you are, I want to get involved. You make, and I hope people who are hearing this say that, and you know, you just put your money where your mouth is, right? Like that kind of thing. And yeah, so I do really appreciate you coming on. You're a much stronger guy than I could ever be, man. Just the way you approach things and what you're doing now, and not looking back, just looking forward, that kind of thing. But I do have some quick hitters. Like, what was your favorite prison food? And I know it's a weird question because it's all shit, but
Chicken. They serve chicken legs every 2 weeks, like the actual drum and the thigh.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks. It's once every 2 weeks. That's practically the only real food on the fucking menu.
Man.
People go crazy about that.
What was like the worst? Everything else, or just?
There's so much of it. man, the food was so horrible. And there was a time when I was in prison where there was this whole big thing about budget cuts. So they privatized the food. And I remember there was some of the food they were feeding us, the packaging literally said not for human consumption.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I remember like there was like all this, the food was old, it was expired, there was some that had insects in it.
Oh.
Bro, it gets you to the point where you have to make a decision. Like, am I going to not eat today?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And
Do you get 3 meals?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right there. None of them are mandatory. You don't have to go.
Right.
You don't have to eat it. They just have to give it to you. Right. They have to offer it to you. They don't have to give it to you. They have to offer it. And like food was always like a touch point for a lot of people. And when I left, they were on a 2-cycle menu. So every 2 weeks, the menu repeats. Literally.
Yeah.
The exact same thing every 2 weeks. Nothing changes.
Slap.
And none of it is real, food. Chicken was literally one of the few things that was a real food.
Look at that
Like
shit.
everything else was like processed. Yeah, food is, you learn to avoid certain shit.
Yeah. how do people I watch my fair share of like YouTube things on prisons and this, and just casually for entertainment, really, unfortunately. Is it true that when you get into prison, they like check your papers type thing? Like, so they can figure out if you're telling the truth, like you're in for murder, you clear the papers, that kind of thing. I always hear that where it's like, rule out the cholos type thing, or
Paperwork
chomos
party.
or whatever.
That's what you're referring to.
What is it called?
Paperwork party.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is like,
Absolutely.
how do they do that? Is it a crooked cop that helps them? Like, how does that process work? It's like, I'm going to check your papers. I'll just go on my computer right now. And
So I won't confirm or deny the cop part.
okay.
But I will say that, yes, it happens. And, I mean, the simple answer is, like, you just call home and be like, Joey, check this person's number
Okay.
out. And there's MDLC has a website that has your charges on it.
Right.
And I call you back later on and you're like, yeah, he's dead, first-degree murder, second-degree murder.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need is a confirmation.
Is it true in prison about child molesters? Everything that we hear, basically, there.
Which part?
Well, you just stand less than a chance than you already do stand. You know what I mean? It's just
Absolutely.
like they're done. Do they? And you can
Absolutely.
check out, right? You can check out and go to like solitary confinement almost. Is that
That
possible?
shit don't help you. Yeah.
But it does. How, again, if it's solitary confinement, how does that? They still can get to you.
I mean, maybe not at that particular time, but the thing about prison, it's the same as being here. Like, your reputation follows you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing about prison is everybody gets transferred at some point or another. So
And why do they transfer you?
they make up all sorts of reasons. Sometimes it's security reasons. Sometimes if you two have a problem and they feel like, you won't be able to resolve the problem, they'll move one of you. Sometimes it's just routine. You've been there too long. You've gotten too familiar with the staff or too familiar with the inner workings of the facility. They'll move you. Sometimes, it
For
just-
multiple reasons.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be your fault, right? Sometimes you might get swapped with someone that was a problem somewhere else.
Right.
They,
How often were you transferred?
I went to
At least 2, right?
6 different prisons.
Really? 6 times, huh? Is that like a big blow because you might get acclimated to whatever extent and then you have to just do it all over again?
So here's the thing, right? A lot of people that have been to prison, this is the part that affects you psychologically. I'm never going to get too close to you because at any given moment we can be separated.
Right.
Right. So most people that have been incarcerated have abandonment issues, and we have emotional attachment issues because I'm always expecting you to leave. I'm always expecting you to leave by force or by choice.
Right.
You're going to disappear at some point. And I may never see you again, or it may be 10 years before I see you again, maybe 2 years before I see you again. So, the thing about the moving around, you don't have any say in it.
Right. Yeah.
You don't get to be like, I'm not going. They could wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, pack up.
Yeah, I mean.
You know what I'm saying? So,
God, after all this, and you didn't
that
even
shit-
do it, too. That's the other.
yeah. And
factor. I guess
I've
it's a
been as
small
far
part of it.
as like being transferred across the bridge in the UP, like 7 hours away.
Yeah, and your family can't really. I mean, they might come, but they aren't coming like you were in Saginaw.
You got to take a weekend off of work to come visit. Like, it's 7 hours one way. Like,
Oh, my God.
You're not driving back after a 4-hour visit and drove for 7 hours. You're not driving back.
Yeah.
Did you make a lot of lifelong friends, or I mean, maybe now the way you put it just now.
I mean, friends is a touchy word. I met some people that I can say that I will always be supportive of.
Right.
There's not very many people. There's a few, but there are some people that I can look back and be like, that's my dog. I got it.
You out, or you looked after each other, or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can you? I mean, how hard is that to read somebody who's actually on your side in prison, where like you said, at any moment they're walking in between you and shit pops off? Or
see, the thing about prison is like your loyalty isn't tested by what you say; it's by what you do.
Yeah.
Your friends are defined by how they show up. And if we're walking together and, something pops off, if you don't go, we ain't friends.
Yeah.
You've made that clear.
Right.
But if you do, you've made that clear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When people are willing to risk themselves to make sure you're safe, or to put themselves on the line to make sure you're okay, or to sacrifice their own food to make sure you eat, or to sacrifice their last Tylenol to make sure you're okay, you start to value things differently. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That anybody could give you something to eat, but when that's all he has and he gave it to you, you look at him differently.
Yeah.
When the knives come out and the wars start, and the only person on their way to the hospital with you is this motherfucker, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's my dog.
That's my boy. Yeah.
That's my dog.
Yeah.
Sounds so miserable. I mean, like all this popping off. So, I mean, like you've been to the hospital clearly. Like, how often is it like, I mean, I know I asked this before, but you're talking like every day something like is just popping off with knives and shanks and this and that? Or is it just kind of fight here, bruise up, and then it kind of subsides? Or
I mean, it depends. It depends. Like, I mean, again, when those doors are closed, y'all might fight and don't get caught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that happens.
Yeah.
When you're in that room, or if you've gotten into it with somebody and they come in that room, shit, you might just have to pull the blanket over your head for a few days till you heal up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real reality. You get your ass kicked. The weak separate themselves from the strongs by how you deal with situations like that, right? If you go down to the desk and say, hey, I just got my ass kicked, and now they're looking for the guy who kicked your ass, like, there's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But if you took that ass whooping like a champ and you laid your ass down and you healed up a week or two and you went back for round 2 after you got yourself situated, you know that people gonna look at you different, like, okay, all right, he was all right.
That
but
makes sense.
To your question, how often does violence happen, bro? Like, there's rarely a day that violence isn't.
so there's no just going in there and like chilling out.
I mean, you can, it's possible, but it's also a matter of how you carry yourself, how you conduct yourself, how you who you connect yourself with.
Yeah.
Those are real important things. Like, I'm the guy, like, if I see somebody that is new, or what I would interpret to be weak, or he don't know, I'm gonna tell you, don't go over there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm also gonna step in if I see something that don't look right. Y'all chill out. Come on.
Yeah.
Cut him some slack. That was me. I was that guy that, I could go to, because I was neutral and I wasn't a part of anything and I had as much time and I had proven myself, I could go to the gang leader and be like, yo, call him off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't necessary. Let him pay you or do whatever he needs to do for this not to happen. But that garners a certain level of respect.
How did you get away with not affiliating yourself being in there for 16 years? I mean, I feel like you're almost forced into it.
I mean,
you just handle your business and just one day at a time?
Yeah.
How were they split up? Like, was it color? Was it religion? Was it just you're a Crip, you're a Blood? Like, how does that work?
That's a little into the weeds, but
yeah.
It's
like, guy like me, do I just have to go in with the whites and call it a day, or?
No, but it's an option.
I can go to the black
You
side
could
or
be
the
Mexican,
Muslim side or
you could-
Mexican side.
listen, you could be whatever you want to be in prison. That's a true statement.
Really?
And it's, so
white guy can be with a black guy as long as you just stick with.
oh, you gonna prove yourself.
Yeah. Well,
You gonna prove yourself.
I would think.
You
yeah.
ain't, the one thing about it is you're not just about to be like, I want to be one of y'all so I can stay safe. Like that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You're
Natural.
going to have to prove yourself.
Right.
You know, you're going to have to earn that spot. They're not just giving it to you because you said I wanted to come over to this side. Nah, you got to earn that.
Right.
You got to earn that. And sometimes it looks different, right? Sometimes it depends on what the situation may be. Your task might be to go at an officer.
Jesus.
You got to be willing to stomach that. You
Yeah.
got to be willing to do whatever's necessary to be a part of that, if that's what you want to do.
So if you're constantly getting in trouble, do you just it goes on your record? Obviously, do you get time added, that kind of stuff, or is it just like par for the course, whatever? He's just going to serve his time and.
No, so they did away with good time and earning time off. They did away with that some years back, a couple of administrations ago, a few administrations ago, honestly, like the 90s or something. But now, I mean, the worst thing can happen. They charge you with a new case, depending on how bad it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you killed somebody, you're probably going to get a murder charge.
You get caught with a knife, you get caught with a phone, you get caught with drugs. Like you beat a person bad enough, like
It's assault with
Yeah.
deadly intent or
assault.
whatever.
you hit a person with a lock. Like
Did
that
you
shit-
ever get that, like where you got in trouble or something, and where you had to continue, like it was added time to your 18 life sentences that you got?
Listen, this is the part that it seems like the administration doesn't understand. I got 2 life sentences. There's nothing
Right.
worse you can do to me.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You don't
Like
care.
the
yeah.
consequences for anything
Yeah.
I do are 0 at this point.
Yeah.
You know, my ability to mentally manage whether
You
or
think
not
I
this
give
is a
a
dangerous
fuck?
situation or not.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, if I feel disrespected, I'm ratting.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Like there's no question about it
That's
because hey, what are you going to do to me? I can't
Yeah.
die but once. You already told me to die 3 times already. Like what do you want me to do at this point? Like, you can't take
Oh
any
my god! I don't mean to laugh.
but it's the truth.
Pants, but like,
Like,
yeah.
you have to think about it this way, right? And part of to your earlier questions around how I've learned to develop the fortitude to push through a lot of shit. I know what it feels like to have nothing.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to have my entire world taken from me.
That
People
makes sense
put a lot of
because all
stock
the- yeah,
in.
sorry.
You're good.
No, continue, please.
People put one of the biggest things that threw me off when I came home, and while I was inside, you hear these stories about this guy killed somebody because they stepped on his shoes at a club, or he carjacked somebody and hurt him real bad. For me, that never translated, and it doesn't translate today because I know what it feels like to have nothing.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like when your entire life, your entire day depends on a 34-cent noodle. I know what that feels like. So I'm not arguing with nobody about shoes. I'm not arguing with anybody about a car or a chain or whether or not you can have something that I have. Like it doesn't hold the same value to me. It's material. It can be bought again. What you can't buy is that time that I lost. What you can't buy is everything of value that I considered to be important to me that was robbed of me. You can't buy that. So when I go into these conversations and, I'm the one that's asking the different kind of question that pits me against everybody else in the room. One thing that I've learned, most of the people that have become opponents or opposers to criminal justice reform, they're speaking on behalf of the people that pay their paychecks. They're there on behalf of the organization that pays them. Half of them don't believe half the shit that they're arguing about most of the time. But because their job is on the line, they're going to do whatever's necessary to feed their families. They may believe that it's morally wrong. They may wrestle with themselves all night long before they show up at that meeting with me the next morning. But they're going to do it because their livelihood is on the line. I don't have that same attachment. I don't get anything out of the work that I do. Nothing. The only thing that I get is the fulfillment of knowing that the person that's going to come after me at some point doesn't have to deal with these same stupid ass arguments.
Yeah.
The value in what I do is different for me because I don't benefit. There's no upside to me getting policies changed. It's not going to affect me. There's no upsides to me getting rid of bad officers. It's not going to help me. There's no upside to me exposing bad prosecutors. That doesn't help me. All it helps is the people that come after me. It's just that I have the balls to say what's necessary and speak up for the people that can't speak for themselves. I gained zero from this. I find my joy in knowing that I helped the next person.
Right. Man, you in the, what has it been 5 years since you've been out? 6 years? 5 years?
5 years.
In the 5 years you've been out, you've accomplished more than I have in the last 20. So I can see your sense of time and urgency is there. And I think I've got probably 20 more stupid prison questions. We're just going to have you back when we're talking and just chumming it
Part
up.
two?
Yeah, we'll
A
do
lot-
it.
everything's so heavy. Now
Now
I got to process all this in my brain and all that. But
if we ever
man,
get successful, I'm telling our first 5 guests
Yeah.
we're going to Key West. So
What a
we'll
great
do this
interview,
in Key
man.
West.
Let's go.
You've
Let's
been
do it.
awesome. I think we probably wrap it up here, but man, I mean, these 2.5 hours went by pretty darn quick,
Yeah.
if you ask me. But again, repeat what Danny said. A lot of respect for you, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's been an honor, a pleasure, and yeah, man, I can't thank you enough. And your story is powerful, but I would say inspirational for sure.
Yeah, and we will post all your websites, and they can follow you on Instagram. I know at Ken Nixon. It's Ken, not Kenneth. At Ken Nixon, and we'll again post this on everything. And if you ever want to contact Ken, and we'll be able to get you in touch with him. Hopefully, he'll return your call. And
Absolutely. Follow all of our organization's social medias too. Organization of Exonerees. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. We have a website. We have a newsletter that comes out every other month. Feel free to donate if you feel so kind. But we're working. We're doing as much as we possibly can to be helpful.
awesome,
Love it, man. Appreciate
Awesome.
you, Ken. Thank you for coming today, man. Joey and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
All right, man. That's a wrap.